Hello, good evening, brothers. Hello, hello, hello. 1 second. Cool. What's happening? What is happening? We're doing army list shows tonight. If you didn't know, that's what we do every Sunday. How's the arm? Um, Sore miles. I'm having good days and bad days. Yesterday was a great day. Today is quite sore. But it's fine. I'm getting through it, I guess. Getting through it. I'm gonna try and play a game on a Wednesday night, actually. So hopefully, we'll be feeling a bit better by Wednesday. All right, tonight army lists. Lists. Where are we? It's not there. We've got Jim Carroll. We've got Renaissance. We've got Reziel. We've got Steve West. So we'll be live for like an hour and a half, maybe something like that. Looking at army lists. I haven't played in like 3 weeks. I always feel like when I've not played in a few weeks, forget everything. I think it's because I'm old. So you guys in chat will need to keep me right. I'm not seeing the chat for some reason on YouTube. Hold on, what the hell is going on? Why am I not seeing chat? Seeing chat on one of my monitors, but normally it appears on the other one. I don't know why. Live chat? Oh, there we go. Okay. Apparently the drop down was selected incorrectly. Anyway, good evening. Braden, Robert, John, Reziel, Jim, Nathan, Adrian. How is everybody? Carrie, good evening. All the way from Canada. How are you doing? Okay. So yeah, if I forget anything or if there's anything that you guys think would help improve the lists, then please just shout out in chat and I'll try and catch it as well. Okay. Cool. All right. So this is a list from Jim Carroll, and he's going to bring it to GT. He's aware there's no Soul Warden. I should have it, but I couldn't squeeze in another character as I wanted more bodies. Hence the 2 assault squads. Assault squads are interesting choice. Okay. I don't want to spam our best with 3 Death Company and 3 Sangre Guard. Yeah, I mean, I think if you want to spam that, you can. But I understand not wanting to spam it. Hammers, Death Company are the turn 1 threat. Sangre Guard and Hammers focus the bigger threats. Infernal Pistol in Death Company squad is backup. He's got Reapers to clear chaff. Interesting. This might be the double Reaper list. Someone said they were actually going to make a double Reaper list. Sangre Guard can do their job. Sangre Ancient giving the 2-inch movement. Obsec. Fury Lost focused and Relentless Assault. Okay. Alright, I'm probably going to like everything except Reapers. Yeah, double Reapers, man. I think Reapers need to drop like 20 points to be competitive. I'm not even sure they would be competitive if they drop 20 points. Because I think I have reasons here. All their firepower is like AP1, right? Except turn 1, I guess it's AP2. So Reapers into Armor of Contempt makes me feel very very bad, very I guess very bad. I mean, I don't run Redemptor Dreadnoughts anymore. But like I really wouldn't run the Redemptor Dreadnought with a heavy onslaught cannon because I mean the regular onslaught cannon is fine, but I don't think it's good. I think it's fine. So I think the heavy onslaught cannon is the same. I probably feel like it's fine. I just don't think it's good. I'd be surprised if Gladiator Reapers don't. I'd be surprised if all the Gladiators don't drop like 10 or 15 points, maybe even 20 in this next balance slate. Okay, so we've got Dante, who's the warlord, who's got heroic bearing. Sure, we've got Lamartas, who is Mantra of Strength and Canticle of Hate. Personally, I don't know if there's all that much strength in heroic bearing. Like, do you really feel like you get a lot of advantage out the 3 inches extra of auras? Maybe. I suppose it depends on how you play Dante. Incursors times 2, Assault Intercessors times 1. It's all good. Death Company times 3. We've got a Thunderhammer squad, we've got an Infernal Pistol Power Sword squad, and then we've just got an Infernal Pistol squad. I like that. I think that's cool. I also like the fact that you take the Sangre Ancient with all that Death Company. I think the Ancient helps them a lot. I think the Ancient helps the Thunderhammer guys a lot as well. So I like all that. We've got the Wrath of Baal and Rites of War on the Ancient, and one of the reasons I like Rites of War on the Ancient is because he can do the Heroic Intervention for 6 inches. Because he does have the Sanguinary Guard keyword, I think. For some reason, Dante doesn't have that keyword, but the Sanguinary Ancient does. I mean, I guess it's just probably an oversight, actually, because Games Workshop really tried to nerf Blood Angels in our codex this time around. But yeah, the Sanguinary Ancient has the Sanguinary Guard keyword, which means he can use... what's it called again? They actually haven't listed it here. I guess they didn't realize that he had the right keyword. That's funny. It's the Unbridled Ardor one. I'm just going to pull it up in case anyone doubts me. Obviously, you can 3-inch heroic anyway because he's a character, but you can pay the 1 CP to get the 6-inch heroic, which is pretty cool on Rites of War, right? Ardor. How do you spell that? Like this? Unbridled Ardor. Please select 1 Sanguinary Guard unit from your army. Yeah, so he can use it. I guess the people that make Wapedia didn't even realize that he can use it because they haven't listed it as an available stratagem for him. But it is. It is. Okay. Good evening, Mike. It was fun as hell to throw 80 Reaper shots at people. And how did you find 80 Reaper shots? Jim, were they actually killing stuff? Into Knights, I guess they're -1 AP, but I can't imagine you would wound all that often into Knights, being that you're Strength 6 and Strength 4, right? So you're only ever wounding on 5s. So 80 shots rolling to hit means about 60 hits, wounding on 5 only means like 20 hits, and what they're saving on 4s. So like 360 points of Reapers are maybe doing 10 wounds to Knights. So like not even killing a single Armiger. It feels like mathematically that doesn't sound great, right? Like you could have had like 6 attack bikes that would give you 12 multi-melta shots. I'm pretty sure 12 multi-melta shots would do more than 10 wounds to Knights. But yeah, I mean, I guess Reapers are more designed for chaff clearing, right? But the fact that I don't like taking units that don't have multiple utilities. I guess that's why I'm scared of Reapers right now. I think Baal Predators used to work, but Baal Predators haven't worked for a very long time, right? Anyway, Sanguinary Ancient with the Death Company. I think it's cool. We've got 1 Sanguinary Guard, which is just a 5-man with a couple of Infernal Pistols, mostly swords. We get 2 Assault Squads. We've got Thunderhammer in one, interesting, and we've got Power Fist on the other. Is the Thunderhammer only 10 points? Cool, if it is. I don't run Assault Squads myself, actually. Fast attack. Fast attack. Assault Squads. 10 points for a Thunderhammer on an Assault Squad. Okay. They need to... So, it costs 10 points to have a Thunderhammer on an Assault Squad. It costs 15 points to have it on a character. It costs 20 points to have it on Death Company Intercessors. Like, it's the same fucking weapon. Why does it need 3 different points cost? Good evening, Dasher. The 2 Assault Squads, and then the 2 Reapers and the Whirlwind. Okay. I mean, you're putting a lot of pressure on these Death Company models to kill all the big nasty targets, aren't you? And I guess Lamartas as well. I guess your Assault Squad could do a little bit of damage to nasty targets. I think it's good to have like this many jump units. So you've got 6 jump units, you've got the Ancient and 2 characters, and you've got the Fury of the Lost, and you've got the potential Relentless Assault. So everything like on that side of things looks good. Personally, I just don't think I get on board with two Reapers. I just think there's too many matchups where they're not going to do a whole heap of work. And I mean, I think this is why when I've run the Reaper, I've run the not the Lancer, it's the other variant, the Valiant. But yeah, I think Reapers are because they have no invulnerable save, and I think that's a big huge problem with Marines in general at the moment is no invulnerable save. So like, when you come into some army that's got like a bunch of multi metas like Sisters of Battle, those Reapers are really not going to last. -4 Sister of Battle multi metas will mean you're only saving on sixes. I mean, even if they had like a 5 up in fun, I could maybe get on board with their current points cost. It's maybe I need to do another video where we compare like a Reaper against a Redemptor Dreadnought. I suppose the problem with the Redemptors though is they take up the elite slots, and well, arguably you do have one spare elite slot in this list. But yeah, Jim, you need to play this a bunch of times and let me know if you actually think double Reaper is strong. Because I have one Gladiator now. I'm not in any rush, I feel like, to buy a second one. I'm probably going to wait for like either a points drop or an improvement to the rules before I buy them. Before I buy another Gladiator. But I mean, my Gladiators are magnetized, so I can run it as any of the 3 variants. Thanks to Mike, who is in chat, who painted my first Gladiator. Yeah, Mike, I actually tried to do my transfers on them, but realized that I can't. I would have to cut the transfers out with my left hand at the moment because of my right arm being broken, and I couldn't get the leverage to cut the transfers out with my craft knife. So, aside from the lack of CP, why is no one using the good old Smash Captain on a bike? A lot of people prefer Dante. A lot of people prefer the +1 CP that Dante gives. I was going to say, I don't think my current list has a Smash Captain on a bike. I prefer him because he has a Thunderhammer, and I just think 3 damage strength 8 is a lot better than 2 damage strength 7, which is what Dante is. You know, because like people say like, well, Dante gets more attacks. Yeah, but if you fight toughness 8 on Dante, then you're only wounding on 4s, which is pretty rubbish. If you yeah, which is pretty rubbish. It basically halves his attacks if you think of it that way. And he only has 2 damage in attack, so I'm much more on board with a captain with a Thunderhammer. I really hope that this new rumored Dante that we're gonna get is has something like what Helbreck has, right? Because Helbreck, I'm not sure I can spell his name right off the top of my head. It's something like this. Yeah, Helbreck. Helbrecht, maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong. He's the Primaris chapter master for the Black Templars. So because he has the Primaris keyword, he can instantly be played on Transhuman, which is one of the reasons that I like Mephiston, even though I'm not running Mephiston at the moment. Primaris gives you the ability to Transhuman, which is cool, right? But his Meltagun is D6 plus 2, even at maximum range, which is what I think Dante's Infernal Pistol really should be. Like Dante's Infernal Pistol, if it is a 6-inch range, it should just get the plus 2 at maximum range, because I believe it's in the lore it's called the Perdition Pistol or something like that, and it was like the first ever Infernal Pistol, or it's the oldest one, or it's a prototype one, or something like that. Someone in chat will correct me. But also what Helbrecht gets, which is really cool, is he actually gets to hit at more strength than Dante, which is crazy actually. He gets to hit his strength 8 with -3 and 3 damage with his 6 attacks, but it would be 7 if he's charging because of Shock Assault, and I think he can do, instead of making 3 damage attacks, he can do 2 hits per and do double, so he can do like 14 damage one attacks. And this like sort of a high martial rule. Every faction, every big character now has this sort of strike and sweep profile. I'm crying out loud. If Dante had a strike and sweep profile, then maybe I could get much more on board with Dante. And let's hope that they give him that, right, when they redo his rules or something. But a lot of people run Dante. A lot of people love Dante, I think, for lore reasons over gameplay reasons. Because in the game, for me, toughness 4 is 6 wounds, which basically means he'll die to like 2 Thunderhammers, or sometimes he can even die to like a single crack missile or a single multi-melta shot. I generally dislike characters that are going to be able to be vaporized in one shot if you want them to be fighting characters. And I guess you could argue Dante is not supposed to be a fighting character, he's supposed to be a buffing character. But at some point in the game, you do need to fight with your characters, right? Like, you can hide for 2 turns, maybe you can even hide for 3 turns, but at some point you need to start fighting with your characters. You can't spend 165 points on a character for him to hide the entire game. And when he does start fighting, he does start dying pretty quickly. So, my opinion is like, and Dante's -1 to hit, but the thing about that is, I think toughness 5 on a bite captain is stronger than -1 to hit. Because like there's a lot more rerolls to hits than there is rerolls to wounds, I feel like, in the meta. So you're more likely to his -1 to hit is more likely to be negated than his +1 toughness. But arguably, I guess if Dante became Primaris and you could play transhuman on him, then and he got more wounds because he's Primaris and he gets swipe and streep, then I guess maybe that would seal the death of the bite captain. Dante is supposed to be the fighting character, leading into the front, jumping into combat. You're right, Highland Phoenix, and I guess in 2nd edition he could do that. In 9th edition, I mean, if he does that, he usually dies in 1 turn, right? Anyway, overall, I like the list. I like assault squads. I think they're cool. They do a good amount of damage. I like 3 squads of Death Company. I like the loadouts. I like having Chapter Master rerolls. I like having Lamartes. I don't like that you don't have a Sanguinary Priest. Because I feel like if you don't have the Sanguinary Priest, you're probably going to have to spend like 2 CP to put units into a Sop Doctrine. Which is a lot, especially if you want a Forlorn Fury. 3 CP cost on a Forlorn Fury, it's a lot. I really feel like Assault Doctrine is super important. And then I'm not sure I'm in... I like the Whirlwind as well, obviously. I run the Whirlwind a lot myself. I'm not sure about double Gladiator Reapers. I guess if the enemy ignores them and you can shoot stuff, then maybe. But I think it's the fact that, like, I don't see the Reapers as... what's the word I'm looking for? I don't see them as... oh, fuck. The word I'm looking for is versatile? Adaptable? Versatile, probably. Like, they do one thing. They kill chaff units. I don't even think they kill chaff units all that well. They certainly don't kill Armor of Contempt chaff units all that well. So they kill some chaff units. Like, maybe they kill orcs, or maybe they kill Eldar chaff. But they're never gonna be able to fight back against like other armor, really. And I guess maybe you're just using them as bullet magnets to try and have people shoot at them rather than shoot the Sangry Guard and the Death Company. I mean, maybe that's okay then. The ongoing problem of Space Marine fire support has been a problem this entire edition. Dreadnoughts filled that hole for a little bit. Now I don't really know what fills the hole. Yeah. The Wrath of Val probably is more valuable than... yeah, it's a tough choice. Wrath of Val versus the Assault Doctrine. It really depends on how aggressive you're going to be. If you're going to be really aggressive in turn 1 or 2, not having a ton of... not having Assault Doctrine feels weak. like Assault Doctrine adds so much damage. But yeah, I mean, I guess you've got 16 Infernal Pistols. When you put it that way, that it's a good number of Infernal Pistols. Okay, I can live with it. If it was me, if I was forced to run a list like this, almost like with no changes, I think all I would probably do is I would change out one of these Reapers for a Valiant. So you've got one that can deal with armor, and you've got one that can deal with infantry. I'd lose some Infernal Pistols elsewhere to make that possible. I think that's probably the only change I would make, Jim. Good luck at your GT, though. Let us know how you get on. You said you don't have Soul Warden. It really could be worth giving Lamartez. Oh, I suppose Lamartez is. I was gonna say it could be worth giving Lamartez your Warlord. You'd lose 1 CP if Lamartez was the Warlord, and you would get Soul Warden. Could be worth it. I mean, I would take Soul Warden over Heroic Bearing, personally. But I mean, it depends on how many mortal wounds are getting thrown around in your meta. Some armies that we play into at the moment just do so many mortal wounds, don't they? Some don't. So I know it sucks to end up picking Soul Warden when the enemy doesn't do any mortals, but like sometimes it just feels like it's too important not to have it, especially if you're going to a GT and you're going to be playing lots of different enemies. One of them is going to have ability to shout mortals at you, right? What's showing 1 wound in Battlescribe, sorry? Braden, thank you so much for the gifted membership. I do appreciate it. How can Dante be Primarist from a lore perspective? He can undergo a process called the Rubicon, which is when they, I don't know, just Google Rubicon Primaris. They've done it to a bunch of people. Originally, when they did it, it was supposed to be really dangerous because I guess they upgrade them from a regular Marine to a Primaris Marine, but they've done it to a bunch of characters now, and no one's died from it, so I guess it's safe to do it now. Swap for 1 Eradicator squad. I find a single squad of Eradicators, like a 3-man squad, is not enough. I think if you want to run a single squad of Eradicators as fire support, I think you probably want a 5-man. Maybe you could do 3 attack bikes. Like maybe you could, like 3 attack bikes is good fire support. The problem I have with Eradicators is you can't split the fire. They move really slow, and if you advance them, they're -1 to shoot. And if you take the heavy version, you can't advance and shoot. So I often find that 3 Eradicators don't do enough work on their own. It's very tempting to just go, I can get 3 Eradicators for 135 points. That sounds good, but they often don't do enough damage. I ran them behind my green screen here. There was a. You see this? This is a. This was a 3rd place finish at an RTT, and at that RTT I ran 3 Eradicators. That was like my fire support. Like the rest of the list was all melee, and I ran the 3 Eradicators, and I felt that I probably lost the game at the end because in the final game I needed some decent fire support, and all I had was 3 Eradicators, and it wasn't enough. Why would he want to be Primaris-sized? Because I think when you get Primaris-sized, that's how we're calling it, Primaris-sized? I don't know how you pronounce that. I think when you get Primaris-sized, you're basically reborn, and you're reinvigorated, and you're ready to serve the Emperor again. Paul says he dropped Eradicators, they didn't work in my army. Yeah, I mean, I think I can deal with attack bikes. Like, I think attack bikes are good, even though they have, like, you're paying more points for the same number of shots, right? Because 3 attack bikes gives you 6 multi-melta shots, which arguably is basically what 3 Eradicators give you for 135 points. But I think the mobility of the attack bikes means you just can shoot them a lot more often, and it also means it's much easier to get in half range and get that +2 damage. So Yeah, I want to love Eradicators, but I think attack bikes are just better for Blood Angels anyway. Okay. Next up's list is by Renaissance, I think. That's how you say his name. And this is a patrol detachment called Walking is for Chumps. Okay. He's running a chaplain. Just, I assume this is a jump chaplain. It must be a jump chaplain for 135 points. Unfortunately, he hasn't said what litanies or whatever loadout the chaplain has. He's got Dante in there to get the 1 CP. He's got incursors and infiltrators. He's got regular Death Company Marines times 2, and I assume these are just bolter and chainsword and jump packs, because I think they cost 21 points per model, so that's 305 points now. We've got 2 assault squads, and they are Combat Shield, Infernal Pistol, Lightning Claw, a couple of melta guns, and you've got 1 extra assault marine in each squad. Okay. Then we have the Sanguinary Priest, who has a jump pack in it, 220 points. We have a Death Company Dreadnought with smoke launchers and blood talons, and a melta gun. And we've got the Sanguinary Ancient with the Wrath of Baal. Then we've got 2 6-man squads of guard, swords and axes, and then we've got Storm Raven with the twin heavy plasma, 2 hurricane bolters, typhoon missile launcher. Okay, this is a strange list. Arguably, this is not a competitive list because we've got a Storm Raven and a Death Company Dreadnought, which I think by de facto probably makes it not competitive because those units are bad at the moment. I mean, the Death Company Dreadnought can go in the Storm Raven. It would need to because it's only got a 6-inch move. But the Storm Raven is not survivable. I can't believe they're still 300 points. Like, Jesus. They're like 16 wounds, toughness 7, right? Like, they've got no survivability. I complain about the Gladiators, toughness 8, 12 wounds. These and they're half the cost of the Storm Raven. Space Marine Flyers have really been... Did I say 16 wounds? They're only 14 wounds. Sorry, my bad. So it's even less. Yeah, like if you're hit with a couple of melta guns or something, you risk losing the entire Storm Raven, all 300 points, and you're only going to get to save on 6s. I genuinely hate the fact that Marines don't have some sort of inherent invulnerable save. It makes running units like this just so risky. Like, so risky. For 300 points to be fine if the Storm Raven had Duty Eternal, says Hydra. Yeah, I mean, that would help it a lot. Yeah, I don't know how you run a Storm Raven. Maybe if they improve it to a 2-up save with Armor of Contempt, that might start being interesting, because then if you're hit with like a -4 melta gun, you could save on a 5, but saving on 6s is just so risky. I feel like one squad of multi-meltas on the other team and this is gone. And like, it has some firepower, you know, like it has a couple of Hurricane Bolters, and it has like a Typhoon missile launcher, and it has a couple of plasma cannons, but it's not brilliant firepower. Like, it's not scary firepower, not for 300 points scary. I prefer to run 2 Gladiator Reapers over a Storm Raven. And I don't like the Reapers. So I really don't like the Storm Raven. I actually own a Storm Raven, and it's been sat in a box for about 3 years. It's a sad state of affairs. I played it once in 9th edition, and I think I went second. Regardless, the enemy had 1 turn of shooting at it and left it with 1 wound. And if that had blown up, everything inside it would have taken mortals, or everything inside it would have died, and it would have lost me the game. So the fact that, like, and the enemy shot it from like a bunch of inches away, you know, like it wasn't like it was close to them. Like I deployed it right at the back of my deployment zone. Yeah, I wish they were better as well. Okay. I mean, double Sandguard, double Death Company, double Assault Squad. These things are all fine. Dante the Priest and a Chaplain are fine. You might be better just running Lamartas here. I'm not sure what this Chaplain's going to give you over Lamartas, because you didn't specifically say what litanies and stuff the Chaplain has. This could be a fun list, I guess. Like the Death Company Dreadnought and the Storm Raven with a squad of Sandguard or something. I mean, you could do it. You just have to move the Storm Raven 45 inches forward and cross your fingers and just hope that it doesn't get killed. And it's a big hope. Like, some armies will just 100% kill it. Some might not. When I played at that tournament recently, the Thousand Sun player had what's it called? The Thousand Sun player had it would have been, I guess he had the Storm Eagle, which is 18 wounds, 3 up save, and obviously the Thousand Suns, so they would get like Armor of Contempt. Do Thousand Suns get all his dust on this as well? I'm not sure if they get all his dust on this, but regardless, like I killed the Storm Eagle in one turn. It didn't survive, and like I don't know what armaments he had on the Storm Eagle, but it was like 350 points gone in one turn from one unit like charging him. Like it's crippling to lose that much in a single turn to one unit. And then when I played against the Tau player, he had a Tiger Shark, which is a giant, super expensive Forge World model, which is 18 wounds and toughness 8. And it costs damn near, I think he actually had it where it cost like 450 points. He lost that in a single turn as well. And when you have these giant, you can maybe do it with a super heavy tank, but I don't think you can do, you can't make these flyers work competitively. You really can't. You can make them, you can play them for fun, but there's just too much to lose. Typically they're impossible to obscure as well. Yeah, they're just a liability, I guess. So things this list is missing is Death Company with Thunderhammers, and I mean, if this really was my list, then I'd probably lose I'd lose the Storm Raven, I'd lose the Death Company Dreadnought, and I'd put in like a couple of Redemptor Dreadnoughts. I think that makes it like much better straight away. And then if there's more space, then I would get that Death Company with Thunderhammers. Braden says he wished transports were more viable in general. Yeah, the marine transports have not had a good time this edition, right, Braden? They really haven't. Hopefully, they're going to do something next edition. If they've got the balance for the rest of the stuff better now, hopefully they're going to sort something out. I want to see Primaris Carlian of the First Company. That would be interesting, Primaris Carlian, right? Because he's a Terminator, so that would be like a Primaris Terminator. I don't know how we're gonna. I don't know if we're gonna see Primaris Terminators. There was rumors about Primaris Terminators. Hey guys, if you got a second though, please remember to hit that like button on the stream today if you can. I would really appreciate it. We did. I was gonna say, did we see? There was a rumor about Primaris Terminators, right? That was definitely one of a million different rumors that have been circulating about Space Marines. But, I mean, this could be a fun list. It's always fun to have a Storm Raven with stuff inside it. I just think if you play against, I don't know, if you played against like Tau or Eldar or maybe even Votan, you're just going to have a really bad day. If they go first and they kill your Storm Raven before it even leaves your deployment zone. Or even what happened in the couple of games that I played at the tournament against the big flyers is they get one turn where they fly forward with a flyer. They do some damage because these flyers do have a decent, like this Tiger Shark does have a decent amount of firepower, right? Like it's got like 2 burst cannons, which is like assault 12. Then it has like 2 ion cannons, which is like heavy D3 plus 3 damage missiles. So you're getting like, I don't know, what's that like? About 10 strength 8 minus 2 3 damage missiles, and then you got a couple of missile pods on there as well, which gives you like another 4 shots, strength 7 minus 2 2 damage. Bear in mind it's only got a BS of 4 plus, so like you get to do some damage with this. You kill like 5 maybe 10 marines if you're lucky, probably split the boat. You kill like 7 marines, then you just get killed and you've just lost 450 points for 7 marines, and it's like, well, that definitely wasn't worth it. So yeah, I just don't know how you make these. Dasher, thank you so much for becoming a member. I do really appreciate everybody who has a green name. And yeah, welcome. Thank you. Join up in Discord as well and get into the members only room. If you need help doing that, you can just DM me on Discord or just ask in one of the channels and someone will help you. I don't know what they do with flyers. You know how they made that rule where it was like you only have 2 flyers? Because the Orc flyers were so damn powerful, or was it the Admech flyers were so damn powerful? One of the two. Maybe it just needs to be you can have 1 flyer per army, and they just make all the flyers a bit better. So it would be more of a common thing to see a singular flyer, but they're quite good. But so they need to be dealt with potentially. I don't know. I don't know what they do with them. But yeah, I think that this list is not competitive because I don't think you can have a competitive list with a Storm Raven in it. If you just want a review on a fun list, then it's a fun list, I guess, right? Alright, let's check out Rezio's list. I'll read his comments at the end so I know what's in the list first. Alright, it's a Nephilim list. Starting on 4 CP. Dante's the Warlord. Lamarta's has Canticle of Hate and Mantra of Strength. The Priest has Armor Indomitus and Rites of War. Okay. Assault Intercessors and Incursors times 2. Death Company with Hammers times 2. Death Company with Hammers and with Infernal Power Swords times 1. Sanguinary Guard times 3. Lots of Infernal Pistols in one squad. Axes and Swords mixed in the other squad. Eliminators with Quake Bolts and a Whirlwind. Okay, so I mean this is I was going to say, this is super close to Zach's tournament list, right? If you guys didn't see the video on Zach's list, let me see if I can bring it up real quick. Because Zach was the guy that won, like, the tournament in... it was a big tournament. I'm forgetting what it was called now. My Google Drive is such a fucking mess. God damn it. What's that tournament called? Anyone remember? If you just give me a second, I'll get it. Here it is. Okay. The tournament was called... the Kansas City Open. That was it. Okay. So Zach's list was Dante, Lamartas, same litanies, 1 Incursors, Death Company with 4 Hammers, Death Company with 4 Hammers, Sanguinary Priest with Rites of War, no Armor Indomitus, Death Company with Chainsword Bolt Pistols, Sanguinary Ancient with Soul Warden, Wrath of Baal, 7 Sandguard, Infernal Pistols, 7 blah 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 blah, so 3 Sandguard, the Assault Squad, the Eliminators, and the Whirlwind. Okay, so Eliminators and Whirlwind are same. 3 Sandguard are kind of the same, only these are 7s rather. No, Zach was running 7s. Alright, so 7s. The 3 Death Company. Alright, so Reziol's kept it as a battalion, which personally I like more because it gives you more CP, right? Like, Zach's list started on like 1 CP. I kind of hate that. And Zach actually, yeah, I generally just hate starting on 1 CP. So you lose the assault squad, and you gain some assault intercessors, and you lose the Sanguinary Ancient because you have a double, because you have the Patrol and Vanguard, and you gain some incursors. Okay, so basically you've got a bit more OBSEC, because you've got 3 troop choices and Rights of War. So you've got a bit more OBSEC, but what you do lose is Soul Warden, which kind of sucks because Soul Warden is good. And you do lose the 2 inches additional movement from Wrath of Baal, which is also good. So, but I mean, you can't have everything, right? On the flip side, I guess you get Quake Bolts, which gives Quake Bolts gives quite a lot of value to those Death Company with Thunderhammers. Zach wasn't running Quake Bolts. No. Okay, so Quake Bolts does give quite a bit of value to Death Company running Thunderhammers, and in fact, it will give value to any of any unit that's going to make a charge. If the enemy is hit with a Quake Bolt, it's going to add value. In fact, it's just going to add like 16% more damage, right? Because +1 to hit and +1 to hit on a dice is like 16% more, right? Okay, so in light of our conversation during the injury update stream, I have my latest list. I say latest, but it's already a month old as I'm writing this. Couple of things. I want to be competing with this, so I'll most likely run into controlled opponents like Custodes, Chaos Marines, Chaos Knights, and Mech and Tau. Not sure what else. Second, I bet you won't like it. This is a very beardy and mostly melee jump pack affair. Fury of the Lost, Relentless Assault, and what other secondaries I prefer at the time. I decided to go very heavy on Infernal Pistols in this. Just want to try it out. The 3rd Sanguinary Guard unit is all axes and Infernal Pistols on purpose. Only 5, but that's 4 points, so my plan is to use it more as a counter-offensive. Yeah, I mean, it's valuable to use a squad with Infernal Pistols as a counter-offensive or defensive unit. I want to set them up to stay in range. Anything else we can discuss in chat? Yeah, I mean, it's not that I don't like 3 squads of Sangard and 3 squads of Death Company. I just think that my thought on it is what happens when Games Workshop inevitably put these things up in points because they think that Blood Angels are only good because of these 2 units. They might not. Blood Angels have fallen down the point. We've fallen down even more. We were at like 49% win rate. We've fallen down to 47% win rate. So maybe there's no danger of that. But I dislike, I guess, like having to base my whole army on 2 units that are the most competitive. And there's definitely some strength in just doing this. I mean, how many points do you spend on this? Like 420 plus 175, that's like 595, plus 340 plus 140, 155. So you spend like 495 points on Death Company, and you spend 595 points on Sangard. So basically, 1100 points of your army is just these 2 units, which is fine. I mean, it's fine to double down on units that are strong, by all means. I just think there's not. Yeah, I just don't know why I don't like this, right? Like, I just think it's boring. I think our codex has like. The Blood Angels Codex has like 20 data slates in it. The Space Marine Codex has like 100 data slates in it. The fact that we have to spend 1100 points of our units on 2 data slates, I think, is boring. And if I do want to win events, like I do genuinely want to go to GT and I do genuinely want to win it, I just don't think I would run this. And I think I actually have, I think now with these 4 Death Company on the table that I'm making with Thunderhammers, I think now I could actually run this. I definitely have that many Sanguinary Guard. I mean, I have like 25, 30 Sanguinary Guard now. I have like 30 Death Company. I definitely have all these loadouts. I just think I'm not going to do it because I don't want to be pigeonholed into only picking 2 units. Yeah, I get it. And it's a decent list. I've run something similar because I've run when I came 3rd at that RTT. I actually wonder if I've got that list, because that was an all melee list, or very close to all melee list. Maybe if I search for third on my Google Drive. Yeah, like where was the list that I ran when I went third? Here it is. So I ran Captain on a Bike and Mephiston, which I guess are arguably switch-outable for Dante and Lamartes. I mean, like, it's just slightly different. Assault Intercessors and Cursors, that's identical. Death Company, Sanguinary Guard. I guess I went with Sanguinary Ancient, Terminators, and Vanguard vets, but I mean, it's still... Arguably, you could swap out one of those Terminator squads for Death Company. Arguably, you could swap out one of those Vanguard veteran squads for Death Company or Sangard, and then this list is basically identical. Arguably, I suppose you could also swap out the Sanguinary Ancient for the Priest. And then I ran a Landspeeder, Eradicators, and a Whirlwind. So, I mean, I've run similar stuff. I just haven't gone quite so ham on, like, hey, I'm just going to go ham on these 2 units. And, like, who am I to judge, though? I haven't won any tournaments, right? Third is my best, and that was my list that I went third with. So if you want to win tournaments, maybe you just ignore me and just run 3 Death Company and 3 Sangard, and also run Dante over the Chapter Master on the Bike, because I haven't won any tournaments, but Dante's won some. Rin Lamartes as well, and the Priest. So I mean, here you go. I mean, this is a highly competitive tournament list. About the only other thing you could change out is you could try and fit in the Sanguinary Ancient if you feel like the +2 to movement has value, which arguably it does. But if you did that, you'd probably have to run like an assault squad and trim like a couple of guys off the Sanguinary Guard, or trim. That's about the only thing you could trim, I think, is like or trim one Sanguinary Guard, put in the Sanguinary Ancient, and put in an assault squad. So that's the only change you can make if you want to stay as highly super competitive Rezio. So maybe if this is the list you want to run, and like you said, it's super beardy and you want it to be super competitive, then the only suggestion that I have is drop 1 squad of Sanguinary Guard for the Sanguinary Ancient. You could add the Soul Warden, which I think has actually quite a lot of value, and you could run an Assault Squad, which also has value because it gives you more bodies. And Assault Squads aren't actually bad at the moment. You get, put some Melta-Guns on there or something as well. It is competitive. They're our best 2 units. Yeah, I mean, exactly. So you're right, Tezza. They are our best 2 units. I just don't know how I feel about, like, I spend thousands of dollars, or in my case, thousands of pounds on this hobby, and have trays of units that I've spent ages, hours of my life painting, converting, transferring, varnishing, and I've spent so much time enjoying all those other models. I don't want to just forsake them and just say, like, fuck it. Death Company and Sanguinary Guard are the best models, so I'm just going to ignore everything else. Maybe that's why I want to win an event, but do you know what? As much as I want to win, I also want to have fun, and I also want to build my own lists, and that's where I stand. So, I can give feedback on lists like this and tell you that it is a super competitive list, and there's a suggestion that could make it better, or it could add something new to it. If you fight against an enemy that has a ton of mortal wound spam, trust me when I say you want Soul Warden. That's the only other thing you could possibly do is give Lamartes Litany of Faith. But actually, Litany of Faith is not that good on Lamartes, of course, because his litanies only affect Death Company. Yeah, so bringing that Ancient with Soul Warden is about your only other play. What am I bringing instead of 3 and 3? At the moment, I think I'm bringing 3 Death Company and 2 5-man Sandguards. And then I haven't played in like 3 weeks. I'm playing Votan again on Wednesday, though, Chris. And I'm just going to run the list that I ran last time because I beat Votan. I've played Votan twice. I've beat them twice. I kind of like the list that I'm playing. So I'm running 3 Death Company with Lamartus for Fury of the Lost, and that was basically the philosophy around the list. Um, but no, I get three. I get 3 Sangard are really good. I don't really get enjoyment out of like non-competitive play, but at the same time, I don't feel like we should be pigeonholed in a book with 120 units to only use 2 of them, or to only use 2 of them for half of our army. Um, I'll die. That's the hill I'll die on. Like if our army list book is gonna have 120 units in them, then I want at least like 20 of them to be competitive. Any less than 20 is just poor in terms of balance, in my opinion. So, um, yeah, like someone was saying, like they're going to go heavy on Blade Guard veterans again. Maybe I painted up those Terminators. I really enjoyed painting those close combat Terminators, and I enjoyed running them as well. So, yeah, but I mean, you could say like it's great that these are Blood Angel specific units and they make your list more Blood Angels. Yeah, but what about all the other Blood Angels units that are a hot pile of trash, like the Battle Predator, like the Death Company Dreadnought, like the Furioso Dreadnought, like the Librarian Dreadnought? It's like we shouldn't be forced to only run 2 things, and I think that's more my principle as opposed to running this, because like I have a couple of tournaments coming up. I might just say fuck it, I really want to win the tournament and run something like this, but at the same time, I also don't want to just sit around and be like, yeah, it's fine. Our books suck, or 80% of our data slates suck, but I'm fine with it. And I think that's more the stand that I'm making. I've always been an outsider, like in terms of life. So I think um, it's probably why I don't meta chase, right? Like I want to love this army, and I want to love more than this army than 2 units. So yeah, that's my thought. So I am running, I think, 5 of these. I think my list ran. I think my list ran 3 Death Company, 2 Sang Guard, and the Sang Ancient. And the reason that I ran the Ancient was because I like the 14-inch movement on the Guard. Um, I think my Ancient had Rites of War as well, because I prefer Rites of War on the Ancient than the Priest. But and that's just because, like I said earlier in the stream, the Sangre Ancient can get 6-inch heroic intervention, which is cool for a Rites of War character to be able to do 6-inch heroic intervention. Yes, it costs 1 CP, but it's a situational thing that you'd be playing anyway. So, um, Mike says, John, you set the meta. Look at the whirlwind. I appreciate that, Mike. That's very kind of you. A lot of Blood Angels players did take the whirlwind after I picked it, I feel like. But yeah, are some data slates more useful in other game modes? Yeah, of course they are, but like I still don't think that I don't think other armies have the same issue that Marines have. Like I don't think any other army has such a bad ratio of like competitive data slates to non-competitive ones, right? Um, it's just my opinion. So yeah, who knows? And if I'm frustrated I've got a GT in March. If I'm frustrated in March, maybe I'll run a list identical to this Reziel, and I'll just go full on ham. I need desperately to win a GT, but there's also a very high chance that like I'll just not, because I would feel better if I won an event without picking the super meta choices and then being able to say like I hate that 90% of the time we have to pick the super meta choices. And also I need to be an ambassador for you guys. Because we always get new players that come in here. Like it happens like every month in the YouTube comments. Some guys like, hey, I've bought the Blood Angels what do they call it? The patrol? Combat Patrol. Someone will come into one of my comments and be like, "Hey, I bought the Blood Angels Combat Patrol. Is it good? You know, like what should I buy next?" And I hate being the guy that says no. Every unit you bought in the Combat Patrol, for lack of better term, sucks. And this is what you should buy: Sanguinary Guard and Death Company. You know, like I'm that guy that has to say that. So I guess I'm going to fight for. We need a more inclusive, competitive roster than 2 units. But I mean, I like the fact that you made this. I like the fact you took Zach's list and you made it your own, and you also made it into battalion because I think a battalion is better. I like CP. I like the options CP give. I like the versatility it adds. So in general, Resi, I like what you've done. The only option I see here is to try the ancient and the assault squad, and maybe if you have problems with this, that's what you try. Cool. I don't want to play a 3 troop tax to take only 700 points of elites HQ, says Cal. Well, I mean that's fine. That's fine. I guess it depends on how much you value CP, Cal. And just in that and then here's the thing I think that CP gives you. CP gives you some versatility. And if you're playing in an event like a tournament, if you have no CP, then I feel like you have no versatility. Um, So that's why I don't run a list that starts with like 1 or 2 CP, because the second you play Forlorn Fury, then you're sort of into that, like, I guess what I call starvation mode, and you're just starving for CP and you're doing whatever you can do. Um, I played Patrol and Vanguard a lot more like when you used to be able to start like on a reasonable amount of CP in Patrol and Vanguard. Um, Like I think I used to always aim to start on about 5 when I played Patrol and Vanguard, but obviously that was when you were getting 12 CP. So I was basically spending 7, probably like 3 or 4 on the detachment and 3 or 4 on my warlord traits and relics and stuff like that. Okay. The Infernal Ball Predator is not to be sniffed at. 145 points for 3d6 auto hits a turn, and it's pretty good for clearing chaff. No degradation to worry about either, so it feels less like it needs a tech green. I could get on board with the Ball Predator, Ben, if they would just change its flamers to be assault rather than heavy, because there's a stratagem that lets the Ball Predator auto advance 6. It's called like Lucifer Engines or something. Like the reason I don't know what it's called is because no one ever fucking runs it. I still think the main turret needs something to make it less swingy, because heavy 6 is terribly swingy, and generally I hate weapons that are as swingy as this. Like if it was like heavy 2d3, might be more interested. But the fact that, like, I think the Flamestorm and the heavy flamers on the Ball Predator, if they were assault weapons, then you could pay this 1 CP to basically say like, hey, you never have to roll your advance roll. You just add 6, so it can move 18 and then flame. Great. The fact it only moves 12 means most of the time you're going to move 12 and you're not going to be able to do anything, and then you're a sitting duck. And because of that, the heavy flamers are also so fucking expensive. Like, why is it 15 points for a heavy flamer? Like that's crazy expensive for heavy D6 strength 5 -1 damage. I noticed on the Votan, their heavy bolters are like, I want to get this right because I remember I was speaking to Andrew about it and it was like, I think it's on their Heka. What's it called? The Hecatonk Land Fortress? Hecaton Land Fortress? Um, no, it's not on them. Um, Shit, I don't know what it was on, but I was. What carries heavy bolters on the in the in the Votan? I don't know. I'm sure I was speaking to Andrew about this. Because he was saying that, like, he was saying heavy bolters on Votan are either 5 or 15 points. Somebody knows. Hecatonks and Sagatars have bolt cannons. They come pre-bought. You don't pay for them. So does anything in the Votan you have to pay for the? Huh, I don't know. I'm convinced. I said to Andrew because he was like, "Oh, I just added a couple of heavy bolters," and it was like, "Oh, it's guard. That's it. Sorry, thanks, Jim. Yeah, right, Jim. You're 100% right. I think it's the new Imperial Guard. I'm not sure if this website's updated yet. Adeptus, sorry, Astra Militarum, and we go to Lehman Russ. Yeah, they're paying 5 points for a fucking heavy flamer and 5 points for a heavy bolter. Like, what gives? What gives? Why the fuck are we paying 15 points for that? Like, why? We just get a 10-point Space Marine tax? Like what the fuck? So yeah, your comments about the Ball Predator, I hear them, but like, I mean, even if you could put 5-point heavy bolters on the Ball Predator, that might actually be pretty cool. The fact, okay, they got one worse ballistic skill is not worth 10 points. Surely not. And remember, they can get orders and stuff like that, right? Because we're using a 2-year-old codex. Yeah, hit me with your logic, why don't you, Atlas? God damn it. Okay. Well, here's me hoping that Space Marines get some point improvements. Serious point improvements in the next. They said that they were coming in January. They said they know Space Marines are still low. 5 points for a heavy bolter would make like, how much do, like, all right, your argument was because they're ballistic skill 4, right? Highland Phoenix? Sorry, not Highland Phoenix. DTM. So like Space Marine Scouts. Scouts are elites now. How much does a heavy bolter cost for a Space Marine Scout? It's 10 points for a Space Marine Scout. Oh, I guess they've got. Oh, I thought they were ballistic skill 4 plus. No, it's their armor is 4 plus. Okay. Okay. Still, I feel like we should get 5 points. Those heavy bolters don't need to be 15. Those flamers don't need to be 15. They're overcosted. No one's running Ball Predators still. The Ball Predator still is overcosted. I still think the Reapers are overcosted as well. The Gladiators are overcosted. Make Space Marines great again. Alright, Steve's list. Excuse me. This is a list he took to a local RTT. Came 6th out of 30th. Well done, Steve. Blade of Sanguinius. Fury and Shot Tactics, wherever I needed to take. I'm trying to test whether high EP would be better than Mass Fire. So far, it seems to do more damage. Yeah, I tend to think more EP is better than Mass Fire. That's why I ran the Gladiator Valiant rather than the Reaper. I think higher EP maybe makes you more flexible too. And I hate it when things bounce. People only went crazy for assault squads and eliminators when upgrades became free, says Foz. Yeah, that's probably because they were overcosted, right? And I don't think people picking eliminators or assault squads has made like a giant difference. Arguably, like, people weren't going heavy on Death Company because Death Company had 2 patches in a row where they dropped points, right? Because they were like 25 points a model. They went down to 23 and then they went down to 21 with the jump back. So, alright, so we have an Inquisitor with mental interrogation. I think that if I was running an Inquisitor like this, I would pay the 1 CP and give him historic lore, I think is the name of the ability. Which basically means every time your opponent uses a stratagem on a 5-up, you gain a command point. I think it's worth spending 1 CP on because I think that your opponent will use multiple stratagems over the course of a battle. and you will definitely roll a single 5 up, and the heads. I'm definitely. Have I spelled that wrong? Lower. I thought I spelled it wrong. Historic lore. While your warlord is in the battlefield, or in this case it would be the Inquisitor that you've upgraded, each time your opponent uses a stratagem on a 5 up, you gain a command point. Yeah, I mean, what's the average number of stratagems your opponent's going to use? About 6? So, arguably, that should probably generate you like at least 2 CP, so I would spend the 1 to get it. We've got Dante as a warlord, give us a CP. We've got a Sanguinary Priest with a jump pack and Rites of War, cool. We've got an Incursor squad. We've got Death Company with 4 Thunderhammers and 1 Power Sword and an Infernal Pistol. We've got Sanguinary Guard with 2 Infernal Pistols, 4 Plasma Pistols. Ugh. I guess you've got them modelled this way, but I honestly think Plasma Pistols are poop. I genuinely just dislike them because I never fire them on high power, so I just see them as a Strength 7 -3, 1 damage weapon. I don't think a single Strength 7 -3 shot is worth 5 points. I think Infernal Pistols are cheap bolters. I don't think there's any reason to take Plasma Pistols on Sandguard. And I have a bunch of Sandguard made with Plasma Pistols that like literally sit in a drawer and never get used. Then you got the Whirlwind. Okay, second detachment, and this is where we're going to spend all our CP. We've got Astaroth with the Mancer of Strength and the Canticle of Hate. We've got another Death Company with the 4 Hammers and the Power Sword. We've got another Death Company with the 4 Hammers and the Power Sword. We've got the Sanguinary Ancient with the Soul Warden, and he's got an Infernal Pistol and he's got Wrath of Baal. Cool. So we basically have Rites of War and Soul Warden and the Wrath of Baal. We have Sanguinary Guard ×6 and a Sanguinary Guard ×6 and some Infernal Pistols in one of the squads. So this is even closer to Zach's list, isn't it? It makes me wonder why you've got Astaroth over Lamartez. That's the main question that I have here, because I think that Lamartez will potentially make scoring Fury of the Lost more valuable, unless you're trying to do Blade of Sanguinius on Astaroth. I guess I could understand why you would do that. Yeah, okay. I don't like Blade of Sanguinius though. When you actually look at how it performs in events or in tournaments, it doesn't perform very well on average. It's like one of the lowest scoring. Is one of the lowest. Like, have you seen the spreadsheet that I made, Steve, about secondaries? Like, Blade of Sanguinius is just a risky pick. You might think it's not, but at tournament play, based on the numbers that I've seen, it is a risky pick. There's not much else to say about that than, like, I guess that's why some people are now moving into Lamartez, because Lamartez doubles up on, like, doing Death Company things for Fury of the Lost. You've got the 3 Sanguinary Guard, you've got the 3 Death Company, you've got the Ancient, you've got the Priest, you've got Dante, you've got Astaroth, you've got Whirlwind. Yeah, so this is the quote unquote beardy list, I guess, which just basically means like these are arguably the most competitive units that we have. So why would you not just run all of them if you have the models? Good question. Run all of them if you have the models. And then you've got, and I guess you've got a Psyker in there for potential denies and CP generation as well. Anyone tried running a Judiciar with 5 Centurions? Sounds like a great combo. Give him Selfless Valor and Visage. I mean, it is a good combo, I think, James. Why Visage? What's that going to do? -1 to hit him? What's the thing? What's the thought about Visage? I used to run the Judiciar a lot when his aura was bigger. When he used to have the 6-inch aura, I used to run him a lot. I guess the problem would just be, I think there's some armies that that counter Centurions, and that's why I have typically stayed away from buying more Centurions, because I was running Centurions before anybody was running them. Like, I started running them almost as soon as 9th edition hit. They were like the first thing that I bought because I had my eyes on I did my eyes on Centurions for a very long time, but like enemies that chuck out a ton of -4 firepower gives you a 9-inch to turn off obsec. I suppose that 9-inch to turn off obsec is pretty nice. If enemies run enough -4 firepower, I don't know. I'm just scared of. I think there's a few armies out there that can jump on and kill 5 Centurions pretty quickly, and there's nothing you can do about it. Like you can't play transhuman on them. They've got no stratagem that makes them more survivable. So I'm scared of. I feel like it's a bit like a Hail Mary. I mean, some of you guys know American football, right? I really think the Centurions are a Hail Mary, in that like, yeah, in some matches, great. The enemy maybe can't deal with it and they win you, but I think in some matches there's 4 receivers in the end zone and you've got your 1 receiver and you're going for a Hail Mary, like good luck. Sisters of Battle with their whole army basically running Bloody Rose Sisters of Battle, the whole army is going to be like -4 AP. I don't know how Centurions are supposed to survive. I mean, when I play against Sisters of Battle, every unit trades down, and you want to be running multiple MSU units. So if you're running one big block of Centurions and they manage to make remember with their Miracle Dice as well, they can make long charges without any risk. And that's my issue with it. If it doesn't fly, it's too slow, says Jim. You can definitely make non-flying units. Is Bloody Rose going away at the turn of the year? Not that I'm aware of. What makes you think Bloody Rose is going away at the turn of the year? Is it an Army of Renowned? Bloody Rose was originally in the Codex, but they got some benefits from the Army of Renown book. But I wasn't aware that anything was being removed or going away. Maybe I've not. I mean, I don't really follow Sister's rule. Repentia aside, I think that's why the GDCR unlocks them even more. Maybe. I mean, those new cyborgs for Votan will be pretty tasty into Centurions, right? Yeah, I mean, I do like Centurions. Like I said, I bought 3 of them before anybody else had them. I don't know. Maybe there's a list that can work again with 3 Centurions. But I'm not a fan of 5 Centurions. I think it's very risky. Let me put this idiot into timeout. Hold on. Bloody Rose is in the Sisters Codex, but the Army of Renown Bloody Rose is going away next year, but Sisters players haven't been relying on that. Yeah. You know what kills Berserkers at range? Gladiator Reapers. Do they? I mean, Berserkers get a 4-up feel no pain against Reapers, right? They probably get a regular save as well against them because of their void armor. What's I actually don't know the armor save of a Berserker. Think Wotan. Berserker. They have a 6-up save. Alright, so they get against Reaper Fire, they would get a 6 save and then a 4-up Feel No Pain. I mean, a 4-up Feel No Pain is still pretty good, right? On top of a 6-up. So tempted. Yeah, void chests. Yeah, they don't really wear armor, do they? I just signed up for 2 RTTs in January. Time to invest in time with a brush and get the list submitted. Good luck, Mike. I've got a tournament in January, I think. 4 up, feel no pain is just wow. Yeah, that's what Death Company need, a 4 up, feel no pain. I'm telling you, because I've pretty much decided Refusal to Die is always, always, always a waste of CP. Like, I'm never going to use Refusal to Die ever again. The 1 or 2 time I've used it, I've gained, like, a single model survives, and then they just put another unit into my guys, and I'm dead anyway. So, I need to not ever run Refusal to Die, and if the Death Company take damage, then just accept it. Mike's going to a tournament in Warhammer World on the 5th of January. Good luck, Mike. I would like to get down to a tournament at Warhammer World at some point. I was going to say maybe not this year, maybe next year. We'll see. Okay. Cool. Well, I think that is about. I was going to say, do I have any feedback for you, Steve? I think the only feedback I could possibly have is like Lamarta's. Rights of War, Soul Warden, Wrath of Baal. Yeah, I mean, I just think that. I mean, we just went over Rezio's list, which is basically the exact same list, only he doesn't have the Ancient, and he doesn't have. What did he not have? He doesn't have the Ancient, and he would have 1 less character. And then he would have it as a battalion. So if you feel like you're starved on CP, then I guess that's where you could go with this. But yeah, I've tried to use Refusal to Die so many times, honestly. Like, I just maybe it works in a 10-man, but 100% does not work in a 5-man Death Company. It's a waste of CP. Never use it. Anytime I've used it, I've wanted the CP later on, and I've been like, man, it was such a waste playing Refusal to Die. Okay, so that is the Army List show this week. Next week is going to be Christmas Day. John, I wish GW would consult with you before doing the next Blood Angels Codex. I mean, you could write them and ask them to speak to me. I would love to speak to them. I just don't think they would. I'm probably biased though, right? Like, only play 1 army. So, but I mean, if you tell me that other armies are getting 5-point heavy bolters and 5-point heavy flamers, I'm asking, why is our Baal Predator that nobody uses because it's not competitive? It would be horribly broken if John was in charge. It wouldn't be horribly broken. Probably the main thing that I want is a defensive stratagem. Like, I want to be able to play transhuman on any marine. Like, if we could play transhuman on Sandguard or Death Company, like, I genuinely like transhuman. And I guess that might actually be like the save. Like, if Blood Angels get Primaris Sandguard with this new Dante release, transhuman would be so brilliant. Put together a petition that Blood Angels. I don't think they'd. We could try, Cal, but I'd rather just give my opinion on the sideline. If they ever reach out, I would be more than happy to speak to them. I'd love to speak to them. But I've also got a small, narrow viewpoint in that, like, I don't know every army. You'd have to speak to someone like Ospec Tactics that knows every army inside out. There's a bunch of armies that I don't see that often. And I was going to say, looking at this list here, I've never played Gene Stealer Cults. I've never played them. I think I've played everything else. Haven't played I've played Demons of Nurgle, and I've played Demons of Tzeentch, and I've played Demons of Khorne, but I haven't played Demons of Slaanesh. I don't know what happened with Slaanesh. We used to get 3d6 charges from Deep Strike. That was awesome. I don't think that was overpowered because it cost CP And I think GW thought our 3d6 charge was overpowered from Deep Strike, right? Like I think that's why they took it away from us. But they gave other armies, such as Sisters of Battle, guaranteed charges from Deep Strike. So if they can guarantee charges, and also they don't necessarily need to be Deep Strike. If they get a couple of good Miracle dice, they can guarantee like 10-inch charges. So 3d6 charges is still ultimately less reliable than guaranteed charges. So I don't actually know why they took that away from us. But I mean, we could debate rules and things all day, couldn't we? Yeah. So I guess next Sunday is Christmas Day. So it's super unlikely that there will be an Army List show next Sunday. What's the Sunday after that? That's the 1st of January. The Army List show might be a different time the week after that. If it is, I'll post on my community. I'm probably not actually going to be that hungover on the 1st, but might be doing family stuff. Jim says he loves how Votan units can go into Deep Strike and return the same turn, but upon Wings of Fire was too strong. Yeah, that's as well. We used to be able to do that as well, didn't we? Wings of Fire in the same turn. Votan can do it now. So it's weird, DTM. It's like they took two of our core mechanics away, gave them to other armies, and then they wonder why we drop to like 47% win rate. And also, I mean, we could go on and on about why we only have two really competitive data sheets. What I'm hoping to see, like if I did tell you my wish list for January for like getting Space Marines competitive again, I would like to see Terminators being viable. I don't know if that's like a couple of points drop per model or something. Vanguard veterans / Blade Guard veterans becoming a little bit more viable because they became almost unviable when Armor of Contempt came out. And maybe something for armor, because like we keep trying to figure out what's good for armor. Does armor just need another 10 or 15 point drop across the board? Like surely at some point, if they keep, because they dropped the points of gladiators, they dropped the points of those storm speeders. I think they dropped the points of the Battle Predator last time, did they? But like they didn't do enough. So like at some point those things do have to become competitive. So I'd like to see, I'm hoping for a few points drops again in January, and I'm hoping that they are targeted and make a few more things that should be competitive better. But that's a job for Games Workshop. That's not a job for me. That's just my wish list. So anyway, thank you so much for watching tonight, guys. If you haven't liked tonight's stream yet, then please do that before you leave. They're not going to be doing buffs in January, Jacob. They basically said on the Meta Watch that so their points costs. There's like three ways they do buffs, right? One is like the balanced data slate. One is like the points costs, and the third one is like the new chapter approved book. So there will be a new chapter approved book probably early next year, but in January they're doing points costs, from what I understand. They're not doing another. They're not changing anything on the data slate, so it's very unlikely you'll see buffs. But you might see some units drop some points per model, or in some other armies points might go up, or maybe even some Space Marine stuff might go up. Like Death Company could go up 2 points per model for all we know, and that's why I think it's really bad that we maybe only have. That's why it's really bad that we only have like people are building army lists that are like I said, over 50% of the models are it's just Death Company and Sanguinary Guard, and that's it. So if either of those units get hit with points increases, that will be generally really, really bad for Blood Angels. And that's why I'm gonna die on the hill of I want more data slates to be competitive. I want more units to be competitive. Because if only 2 units are competitive, then suddenly things can become really bad. And when things did come really bad, when Sanguinary Guard went up to like 32 points per model, we had basically like 3 months of like Blood Angels didn't win a single event. People were getting stomped left, right, and center. And generally, I think at that point, a bunch of people, like channel members that were here all the time, stopped playing because other armies had just got so good. I think two of the ones that I remember were Steel Rain and Emperor's Son, two guys that were like here in all the live streams, all the chats. They were big into Blood Angels, and then it was like the points went up, made a bunch of builds unviable. Some new codexes came out, and like they're just those that just frustrates some people, and then some people will just quit. I don't have the luxury of quitting because I only do one army, right? Like if I wanted to quit, I wouldn't be playing. But doesn't like I'll be frustrated, and then I'll just have to, So it's so more competitive data slates is what we have to push for all the time, and it's great that people think that they want to run 3 Sandguard, they want to run 3 Death Company, and they want to focus on these lists because they think they can win events. Great, go for it. But I'm gonna be on the hill of like, hey, can we have a few more competitive data slates than just those 2, because those 2 is not healthy in my opinion. So rant over. Yeah, we want to do an army list show next week. And I'll tell you when it's going to be the week after, because it's going to be Christmas Day. I'll be live before Christmas Day, so hopefully I'll see you guys then. I am also planning on doing a stream at New Year's this year. So that will be like on the 31st. There'll be less drinking on this year's stream because I'm not allowed to drink because I'm healing. So that's where I stand. Okay. We have 3. The priest really needs to be included. Yeah, okay, sure. The priest has to be included or we can't get Assault Doctrine. Yeah, that's okay. That's my 3rd wish list thing. I want a way to get into Assault Doctrine without having to include a Sanguinary Priest or spending 2 CP. Space Wolves have a stratagem that lets them go in Assault Doctrine for 1 CP. Space Wolves also have that rule on Wolven where they're just an Assault Doctrine from turn 1. Like, why would they? Like, yeah, okay, yeah. Why the fuck? Why are Wolven in where is it? Oh, I mean, Wolven get fight on death anyway, but yeah, they also get each time you make an attack. From if your army benefits from combat doctrines, the Assault Doctrine is treated as being active. Why don't Death Company have that? Like Savage Killers, like. Why would you ever want Death Company in Heavy Doctrine? Why would you ever want Death Company in Tactical Doctrine? You just wouldn't. They should be an Assault Doctrine. Why do we have a CP tax to get? Why do we need that? Why can't we just have Death Company or always Assault Doctrine? Like, yeah. Okay, rant over. Give us that. Those are the things I want, Highland Phoenix. I don't know why I keep calling it Highland Phoenix. DTM. More units in Assault Doctrine all the time, 3d6 charge, and possibly relocate in the same turn. We'll see. I don't know what we would get. I want Corbolo to get a points drop as a regular use a Terrax, says Nathan. That's cool. I want Corbolo to have a jump pack. Didn't they? You can't buy Corbolo anymore, right? They put him off sale. Is that right? Does that mean he's coming back as a Primaris? Death Company should be immune tomorrow. I mean, they should be. I think Death Company should have a... Yeah, Corbolo isn't on sale anymore. I think they should have a rule like the Custodes have, where like every model in the unit can just split off and be their own unit. I forget what it's called. It's called like Unleash the Lions or something. That's what I think Death Company should have. But I mean, like I said, I can't do the balance. I'm biased. Lions. Unleash the Lions. Use the stratagem where you can command phase, select one. It's like you use it on a custode unit that's on the battlefield that contains tour models. Until the end of the battle, each model in that unit becomes its own unit. So yeah, you should just be able to... It's called like... The stratagem should just be called Icy Horus. And it's 1 CP. And every model in the Death Company just becomes his own unit. So it's just like every Death Company Marine sees Horus, and like they're just. You could even add. Do you remember there used to be a rule, like in second edition, where Death Company had to move their maximum towards the closest enemy and had to charge them. Like you had no control over it. So it should be like a 1 CP. I see Horus. Every Death Company model is now its own unit that must move its maximum move towards the closest enemy and must charge them. So it's like that would be um that would be good, right? And that would be very good for Fury of the Lost as well. Yeah, it would be actually. Yeah, you would be like getting 5 kills a game with all these crazed. You would just want one Death Company unit of 10. Would you deep strike into the middle of the board, and then you just pay 1 CP, and I see Horus, and you do like 10 individual crazy idiots that are all move their maximum charge, and it basically counters Overwatch. You wouldn't need a whirlwind, right? Because like they can Overwatch, but they'll just kill one single Death Company guy, and then they'll have like 9 other charges coming in. That's what we need. Yeah. I'd be great at balance, guys. Trust me. All right. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. I'll see you sometime this week, I'm sure. By the blood, are we made strong then? Thanks for hanging out. Peace. Good night.